So you just purchased your first Hanafuda deck of cards off of eBay and want to look like Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. Let's combine the two ideas here. First, go ahead and open this thing up and you're going to see you got two little rules, one for 8-8, the other is for Koi Koi. Man, I tell you, Koi Koi is great. But anyways, we're not here for that. We're going to stab these things. So you want to get a couple items laid out here. We've got some cards. We're going to get some hooks. We're going to get some small hoops. You put those hoops onto the hooks. And then separately, we're going to get some big rings. And then those four things make our earrings, as you can see along this little ruler here. You might want to get some rounded needle nose pliers as well. They're really useful. First thing you're going to want to do is take out that extra spare card they give you and find something nice and pointy that you can stab it with. I here used my little cheap compass, and as you can see, the cards are pretty tough, so get something that can stab through them. You're really going to want to go about 3.5 millimeters down. Make sure you get past that black border. Once you get that stabbed in, you're going to line your card up here as shown, pierce it through, looks all nice and neat, everything's square. And then I'd suggest taking these, layering them opposite of each other, putting them back in the thing, so that way the stab wound gets kind of pressed and flattened back into itself. Kind of helps it keep it look nice. And if you want to, you can just, put on the things from here and leave the cards unsealed as they are. But after about 6 to 8 months, it's going to start to look like this. And that's no good. The edges will start to peel out, you don't even have to get them wet. But since we're here, we might as well just seal these up. So go ahead and take a bunch of paper clips, unfold them so you get these little hook shapes. You're going to want to stab them into there. We're going to take these over here, dip them in some polyurethane or whatever kind of lacquer or varnish you want to seal these things up with. Give it a little shake while it's in there. Helps it work it in where the paper clip is holding it, that's it. It takes about 20 to 30 seconds for this to really drip down fully before you're able to set it somewhere aside. That's what I was doing. And you don't have to do what I'm doing with this setup. Whatever you're able to hang them up with is going to do just fine, as long as they can air out and dry. Don't let them touch each other though. If you'll take a quick notice, the color difference is dramatic. You can see the black lines inside the dark gray much clearer on the rainy, stormy card here. And it just really makes the whole thing pop. Now, we want to actually get around to making these things, so let's go through the walkthrough process. You're going to take all of your shiny metal parts. You could use silver ones if you want, but I think the gold looks better with the Hanafuda earrings. Come down here, we got these hooks. You might want to bend them down a little bit so they don't stab you in the neck, if you'll notice how I've shaped those. And then we've got the big rings. Notice I've got those open. I'm going to be stabbing those into the cards. The smaller ones you don't open. You're going to put them on these hooks, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but don't worry about that. Once you get those put on there, you're going to stab the big circle into the card, put that on the big circle, close it all up, make sure it's not backwards, as you'll notice it's hanging here. Yeah, that's facing forward. And oh, actually that's it, we're done. Just those four things, you got it set. You don't really have to seal it, I'd highly suggest that though. And I'm sure you noticed a couple of these have writing on them, 8 cards. Well, actually it's 7, but one of them I made right here. It's just from the top of the box that the whole thing came in. For the top row here, the first one on the far right says Yukaku, which basically means official. The one on the far left reads Shohyo, which is basically trademark. Remember, this one reads from up, down, right, left. And the one in the middle just says Fuku, which means fortune or blessing pretty much. The one on the right is actually, the Nintendo guys. That's right, these are the Nintendo cards, official Nintendo. And Nintendo itself actually translates to basically entrusted heaven hall. This is a place where heavenly duties are executed. That's pretty high and mighty. And this far right one here says Bessei Harinuki, which basically means individually made Harinuki, that's a type of like a varnish, lacquer way of making things. It's a little difficult to explain, but these cards are basically called Harinuki. Coming down to the next row, we've got 3 red ribbons. This far left one here says Miyoshino, which basically means the body of Mount Yoshi's, and it just kind of trails off from there. It's essentially saying Mount Yoshi's Sakura trees. That's kind of open up for interpretation. These, I'll get into that in just a moment. The next ones here say, it looks like it says Ano Yoroshi, but it's actually pronounced Aka Yoroshi, which means good or clearly good. The second character there actually looks like the letter no, but it's a previous usage of the no symbol for the ka sound. Anyways, links for those two things will be in the description. And on the bottom here we have a sake cup. It says kotobuki, which means longevity or congratulation of a form. And it's also the first kanji of the word sushi, so that's kind of neat. And on the far right, this one says Miyako no Hana, which means flower of the capital, the top one being capital, bottom one being Hana, flower. And down here it just, says fortune again and Nintendo. And that is basically the 7, maybe 8 cards that have writing on them. That way you can go around and actually know what they say rather than people asking you and you have no idea. And with that, you have presumably an entire deck of Hanafuda cards you've turned into earrings. You can seal them up or don't. If you don't, again, they're only going to last like 6 to 8 months, and that's without even getting them wet before they start to peel up. I'd highly suggest sealing them in something. Can't wait to see how long these ones last. I definitely don't want to make a bajillion of these and sell them on Etsy. That's what everybody wants me to do, but I'd rather teach you how to make them yourselves. So, yeah, thanks for being here, and see you next time.